morning and welcome to the March 14th, 2018 Board of County Commissioners meeting. I'm Kate Flavin, Public Information Officer with Sedgwick County. Commissioners, I'm glad to see that we're all dressed in our NCAA finest for the tournament this week. As I'm sure you've heard, we've got 8 men's basketball teams here in Wichita for rounds 1 and 2 of the NCAA tournament. Today, anyone can head over to Interest Bank Arena and watch them practice. The doors open at 10 a.m. and practice begins at 11. Tomorrow morning, fans can participate in Fan Fest near the arena as well. This event is free to the public, ticketed if you have a ticket for the games or not, and that begins at 9:30 tomorrow morning. We have a few brief presentations to share with you, and so I'd like to invite our Register of Deeds, Tanya Buckingham, to come to the podium to talk about a new program for property owners.
Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tanya Buckingham, Register of Deeds, and I'm here this morning to announce a new service to the Sedgwick County residents called Property Activity Alert, which is free of charge. Our alert provides an early warning system that some sort of activity has occurred with your property in Sedgwick County. As a subscriber, you will be alerted if a deed or a mortgage is recorded with your name, and you'll receive an email notification containing a link to our online document search within 24 hours. This gives you the ability to view, download, and print the document from your home computer free of charge. The service is now available on our Sedgwick County webpage. I'd like to sign in and show you how simple the process is to actually subscribe. Is it up there? Okay. If you click on Property Activity Alert, it takes you straight to the alert subscription page. You just enter in your first name, last name, or business name, put in your email address, and then click the button on the bottom left and subscribe. So it's really, really that simple to do. So we're really excited to offer this new service to help property owners protect their real estate investments. And I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to share this with the public, and I'd be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Ms. Buckingham. After you told us about it, I went online and I've already done my property. And, it is just as simple as you described. But
Okay.
I do thank you.
You're welcome.
I don't see anyone else that wishes to speak today, but thank you very much again for making this available to our citizens. I think
All right.
it's great.
Thank you. Happy to do it.
Thank you.
All right, and now I'd like to bring up the County Manager, Mike Scholes, to highlight a recent award recipient.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'd like to bring up real quickly, this week we had, as you know, the Wichita Business Journal annually puts on a host and an awards event in which they highlight in the region the top CFOs in the region. And it's a competitive process. You submit an awards proposal. And this year I submitted Lindsay Poe-Rousseau, our CFO, to get this award, in which she received. I want to read you the kind of the final paragraph of the award summary. Lindsay Poe-Rousseau has been an exceptional Chief Financial Officer for the last year. She took control during a crisis situation and quickly provided leadership to mitigate the effects of a cyber crime. Her personal, humble leadership style builds teams and empowers her employees to perform at their highest levels. Lindsay enhances the county's ability to achieve its mission by directing her team using the values and vision of the organization. She fully understands her fiduciary responsibility to the citizens of Sedgwick County. It's an honor and pleasure to have her on her team as a CFO. Lindsay Poe-Rousseau. And the beauty about this is that she truly is the coach of a team, and it was a team effort that was in which we were able to recognize Lindsay for her efforts as the leader of that team. Do you want to say anything?
No, thank you.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Well, I'd like to say a couple words about before Lindsay leaves. I know we've probably got a couple more things on the agenda that she's going to be up here for today, but on behalf of the entire County Commission, we want to congratulate you very much. We think it's well deserved, and we do appreciate everything that you and your team especially do for Sedgwick County. Thank you very much.
Sir. Thank you.
You don't want to say anything at all?
No, it is absolutely the team, and so I do appreciate very much the recognition, but it truly is an outstanding team that does all of this work every day. So I just want to make sure we give them the accolades. So thank you very much.
Great. Thank you very much.
All right, and finally on the agenda today, Commissioners, you will consider several meeting minutes, appointments to various boards. We have a retirement to celebrate, a grant for health, and like you said, a few items for the Division of Finance. So with that, Chairman, I will hand the meeting over to you.
Well, thank you very much. First of all, before we officially call the meeting to order, I want to welcome all the people that are coming to this area for Wichita and Sedgwick County to enjoy the basketball that we're going to have here at the Entrust Bank Arena. This couldn't have been possible if the citizens hadn't passed a 1-cent sales tax a few years ago and we built Sedgwick County Arena. It is a great honor for Wichita and Sedgwick County. We want to urge all the people that are coming into this area to get out and see what Wichita and Sedgwick County has to offer, especially things like our zoo, Botanica, exploration place, and so forth. These are great opportunities to get out and see why that Wichita and Sedgwick County is a great place to live, work, play, and pray. And we want to make sure that we let everyone know that we are very proud to have all of our visitors here in Sedgwick County for this great event, and we look forward to some great basketball over the next couple weeks. With that, I guess most of you probably noticed that we're not dressed as we normally are this morning. And again, its purpose of that is to recognize the NCAA tournament that's coming here to Wichita. Now, originally, Kate, she was setting up a basketball game between the city and the county. And Commissioner RANZAU was our center. Commissioner Unruh and I were our forwards. Commissioner Howe and Commissioner O'Donnell were our guards. And the problem was Scott Hadley, our director of EMS, said he didn't have enough paramedics to make it off. In addition, we did not want to become customers of Dr. Rohrig. So as a result, this is as far as you're going to get from us today, but it is in honor of the NCAA tournament that we're going to have here. But with that in mind, we are going to be conducting a official business meeting here in the near future. And so I would like to call an official timeout, and we're going to go change into something so we can conduct an official business. So if you give us just a moment to put on a coat and tie, we'll be right back, and we'll start the meeting. Thank you.
Will you be changing your socks?
Is that the team? Which team is it? Good sock.
Are you going to say that? But you're willing to do it. Have you worn it? Well, let me know when you could. I don't know. Right. I'm willing to do It has? Yeah. And he makes fun of it. All right.
The chairman wants to put together once the Project Wichita, $85,000. Yeah, next week. Which is a blessing. But what I want to do is give John Roth
Good.
a proposed
You?
mission statement and some talking points that makes us more inclusive to this project, Wichita. In partnership. You're going to provide that for him, or you want him to provide it? I want.
I'll just do this.
Provide that to him.
Like this.
Okay. Suggest that he adopts it.
Okay.
Adopts it. And in next week's meeting, when he comes here to sell it,
Mr. Manager?
he says thanks.
What's that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, all right, yeah, that's fine. Okay, that's all you.
So to begin to help in the process of doing that. I'm setting up the meeting.
Yeah. Okay.
So you have said
What?
I know in that plan, and I usually develop a vision.
Okay. Okay.
So that
And we're getting ready to do that.
Yes.
Well, thank you all for that brief pause. At this time, I'd like to call the meeting to order for Wednesday, March 14th, 2018. Madam Clerk, first item.
Invocation to be led by Father Zachary Panner, St. Elizabeth's Ann Seton Catholic Church. Please remain standing for the flag salute.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. God of power and might, wisdom and justice, through you authority is rightly administered, laws are enacted, and judgment is decreed. Assist with your spirit of counsel and fortitude this county commission and other government leaders. May they always seek the ways of righteousness, justice, and mercy. Grant that they may be enabled by your powerful protection to lead our county with honesty and integrity. We ask this through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father Panera, thank you very much for joining us today. He and Father Orr and Father Dugan are the three pastors at St. Elizabeth's Ann Seton where I attend, and I appreciate them being here today. Madam Clerk, next item.
Roll call. Commissioner O'Donnell.
Present.
Commissioner Ranzau.
Present.
Commissioner Howell.
Present.
Commissioner Unruh.
Present.
Chairman Dennis.
Present. Next item, please.
Public agenda.
I do not have anything this morning on public agenda. We'll have check real quick. Doesn't look like we have anything. Madam Clerk, next item.
Consideration of minutes. Item A, regular meeting minutes of February 7th, 2018.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion we would approve the minutes for the items A through D. Three of those are regular meetings, and the last one was a special meeting that I missed. I was on a planned vacation. A meeting came up suddenly, but I did want to tell the people that I did watch that meeting twice on YouTube. We do record these meetings on YouTube, and I watched it twice. I actually made some minor corrections to the minutes, and so with that, Mr. Chairman, I make that motion.
We have a motion. I'll
Second.
We have a motion and a second by Commissioner O'Donnell. Any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Commissioner O'Donnell.
Aye.
Commissioner Ranzau.
Aye.
Commissioner Howell.
Aye.
Commissioner Unruh.
Aye.
Chairman Dennis.
Aye. Next item, please. We're keeping you busy today.
Appointments. Item E, resolution appointing ALTA SEGOVIA to the Sedgwick County Mental Health Advisory Board.
Mr. Chairman, Eric Yost, County Councilor. Items E and F could probably be taken together. Item E is a resolution appointing ALTA SEGOVIA to the Sedgwick County Mental Health Advisory Board. Dr. John Roselle had been serving in that position, but Commissioner Richard RANZAU'S is recommending that ALTA SEGOVIA be appointed to that position for a term which would expire March 13th of 2022. Ms. SEGOVIA, I am told, is present to take the oath. Item F would be a resolution appointing Tretha Brown Foster to that same advisory board, and Commissioner RANZAU'S is recommending that she be appointed to the term that would go to March 13th of 2022 also, and I'm told that she may be present to be sworn in. I would urge adoption of both of these resolutions.
Thank you. Commissioner Ranzau?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to make a motion to approve items E and F to appoint ALTA SEGOVIA and Tretha Brown Foster to the Mental Health Advisory Board, and thank them for their willingness to serve, and I know they'll do a great job. Thank you, both of you ladies.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Commissioner O'Donnell?
Aye.
Commissioner Ranzau?
Aye.
Commissioner Howell?
Aye.
Commissioner Unruh?
Aye.
Chairman Dennis?
Aye. Well, welcome.
All right. Yeah, come on up. Good morning, Commissioners, and go Wildcats. All right, please raise your right hand. I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Kansas, and faithfully discharge my duties of the office of Sedgwick County Mental Health Advisory Board, so help me God.
I do.
Good job.
Thank you.
If you'd like to say anything, go ahead.
Well, I certainly appreciate the opportunity to serve the county in this capacity, and I'm looking forward to just building a stronger mental health program and seeing that all of the needs are met. I know the President has a lot of things coming down the pike that are going to affect mental health, and I just look forward to carrying those through into our county. Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Ranzau.
You know, I have to say a little bit bumping my gums. I would like to thank Commissioner Ranzau for appointing me to this advisory board. I would like to thank Chairman Dennis and the rest of the commissioners for voting and accepting my appointment to this board. But I want you all to know that I have given this appointment much thought and prayer, and I feel that this appointment to this mental health board is very, very important. And I take this appointment very seriously. When I sit on the board, I just don't go just to be sitting there. I go to make a difference. The mental health, I want to state to you, the mental health issue that society is faced with today have changed tremendously. Approximately 22 Americans suffer from some type of mental illness. The percentages probably have risen based on the homeless population, veterans coming back from Afghanistan and from Iraq, prisoners that are in jail that suffer from mental illness, not to mention the recent school shootings and the one that have been shooting in the past. That means a lot of people are suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD, a type of anxiety disorder which happens after a traumatic experience, even if you weren't directly involved. The shock that it takes upon a person, it's very hard. It makes them feel very hard, very different, and the outcome of their living in their life going to have a great effect on it. And we know that by what's going on now in some of the students that will be walking out of class today. So I want to thank you for having the confidence in me to serve on this board. I will try not to disappoint you. I'll try to make the difference in the citizens in Sedgwick County suffering from mental illness. And the other thing that I want to say, go Jayhawks, all three of the schools here. All three of the schools here is just great, and this is a very exciting day. I could hardly get downtown today for everybody coming in, so this is a very exciting day for Wichita and Sedgwick County. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. And thank you very much, both of you, for serving. We appreciate it very much. It's a very important board, and we appreciate the time that you'll spend on it. Madam Clerk, next item.
Item G, resolution appointing Simone Ward to the Sedgwick County Animal Care Advisory Board.
Mr. Chairman, Eric Yost, County Councilor. This is a resolution appointing Simone Ward to the Sedgwick County Animal Care Advisory Board. This position had been held by Mr. Vern Yoho, who resigned in December of 2017. Commissioner Jim Howell is recommending that Ms. Ward be appointed to this board to fill the unexpired term. By the way, Ms. Ward is an employee of the County Councilor's office and is here to be sworn in. Her term would run through June 9th of 2019, and I would urge adoption of this resolution.
Commissioner Howell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to make that motion that we would appoint Simone Ward to the Animal Care Advisory Board. And again, I appreciate her willingness to step up. It's a very important position, and she does live in my district, by the way, and I know she's very passionate about the topic. So thank you for your service to the county, and I do make that motion. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. And I will second the motion. Any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Commissioner O'Donnell?
Aye.
Commissioner Ranzau?
Aye.
Commissioner Howell?
Aye.
Commissioner Unruh?
Aye.
Chairman Dennis?
Aye. All right, Mr. Arnold.
Okay. Please raise your right hand. I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Kansas, and faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Sedgwick County Animal Care Advisory Board, so help me God.
I do.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right.
I just want to tell the commissioners thank you, in particular Commissioner Howell. I have rescue animals, have rescue dogs. We just rescued a horse this last weekend. I'm very much looking forward to this and it being a learning experience and also being able to put in some input. And I also want to say that what I'm wearing here my colors do not at all reflect my team choice. So I just wanted to point that out. Thank you, commissioners.
Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, next item.
Item H, resolution renominating Rob Benton for reappointment to the Wichita City Council as a member of the Wichita Airport Advisory Board.
Mr. Chairman, Eric Yost, County Councilor. This is a resolution renominating Rob Benton for reappointment by the Wichita City Council to serve as a member of the Wichita Airport Advisory Board. Mr. Benton has been serving on that board, and Commissioner RANZAU'S is recommending that he be renominated for another term. That term would expire on March 31st of 2019, and I would urge adoption of the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Yost. Commissioner Ranzau.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to make a motion that we adopt the resolution. I don't see Mr. Benton here today, but I would like to thank him for his continued service on this board.
Thank you. I will second the motion. Any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Commissioner O'Donnell?
Aye.
Commissioner Ranzau?
Aye.
Commissioner Howell?
Aye.
Commissioner Unruh?
Aye.
Chairman Dennis?
Aye. Next item, please.
Item I, accept the resignation of Carol Nugent from the Sedgwick County Solid Waste Management Committee.
Mr. Chairman, Eric Yost, County Councilor. Item I is an acceptance of the resignation of Carol Nugent from the Solid Waste Management Committee. We do not have a replacement for her at this time. Eventually, this will be a recommendation of Chairman Dennis, but we don't have that yet, so I would urge acceptance of this resignation.
Thank you, Mr. Yost. I do appreciate the fact that Carol Nugent did serve on the Solid Waste Management Board for us for a period of time, and I make a motion that we accept her resignation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Commissioner O'Donnell?
Aye.
Commissioner Ranzau?
Aye.
Commissioner Howell?
Aye.
Commissioner Unruh?
Aye.
Chairman Dennis?
Aye. Thank you. New business. Next item, please.
New business. Item J, presentation of the retirement certificate to Diana MANSOURI.
Good morning, Commissioners. Lindsay Poe-Rousseau, your CFO. It is truly a bittersweet privilege that I have this morning to present Diana MANSOURI, our interim risk manager and safety training coordinator, her retirement certificate to her today. Diana, I guess if you'll bear with me for a moment, I'd like to share a few things with you before I call Diana up to accept her certificate. So Diana started with the county on July 27th, 1987, when Ronald Reagan was the president. A gallon of gas was 87 cents. And for the first time, the first year, the county commission was made up of 5 commissioners instead of 3. She started as an administrative clerk, then reporting to Assistant County Manager Jerry Harrison. She worked over on the 6th floor of the historic courthouse. She was hired to replace a retiring clerk, and as part of her many duties, she handled workers' compensation for the county. Not too long after she started, the county created a risk manager position, which was filled by Phil Rippey. And Diana actually was assigned to what formerly became risk management for the county as an administrative assistant. One of her proudest accomplishments actually is proposing the safety training coordinator position to Mr. Rippey, which the county, of course, then created. And she has served in that position with enthusiasm under Mr. Rippey and then under Mr. McBride. Safety has truly been a passion for Diana. She has been an excellent advocate for safety committees throughout the organization, and she's especially proud of the facilities committee, which is pretty active. And she says since it has been created, there have been significant reductions in the frequency and severity of incidents. And I can even speak to her passion directly. When we met over this last weekend at a coffee shop to talk through the activities for today, we ordered our drinks. We went to sit. I was looking for a table, and what did Diana see immediately but a cracked faceplate on an electrical outlet? And that came up. And so it truly is a matter of passion for her. And truly no one is immune. Hypothetically speaking, if Diana were to see maybe a county commissioner or a county manager driving around not wearing a seatbelt, she very kindly but sternly would remind them about safety. She also is responsible for the county's safety slogan program. Her favorite is the one from 2004, and that is no safety, no accidents. KNOW, safety, know it, then NO, accidents. Diana also has built a tremendous relationship with her contacts at the Kansas Department of Labor, which has served us well. She cares so much about maintaining a safe working environment for her coworkers and colleagues, but also for citizens who come to the building. She wants to make sure they have an extremely safe experience when they're in our facilities. She has stood up a comprehensive property list. She has set up a truly impressive boiler inspection program throughout the organization. And as you well know, she recently was the key driving force behind the county receiving insurance recovery for a good portion of the fraudulent loss that we experienced in 2016. Diana has many stories in her more than 30 years with Sedgwick County. Some are funny and some are sad. But her favorite is one that she tells from her early days at Sedgwick County, when she was the lone staff member working up on the 6th floor of the historic courthouse. And a man, you could tell was trying to look tough, came in and asked her for a work comp file. She was nervous, she was shaking, she made the copy, she came back, but before she provided it to him, a county ID alone wasn't enough. She demanded to see his Kansas driver's license before she would provide the information. Alone and nervous, she still did this, and that is Diana to a T. She's unflappable, but she will provide excellent customer service and be a consummate professional throughout it all. As anyone who has worked with Diana knows, her dedication and commitment to this organization are truly unrivaled. We are so grateful to her husband, Saeed, who's here with us today, and her children, Ariana and Eric, who have graciously shared her with us over the years. Diana is unfailingly kind, unfailingly positive, and unfailingly supportive. I have worked with Diana since I started at the county in 2010, and I can tell you that she embodies so many of our county values: ethical behavior, accountability, stewardship, communication, knowledge and competency, and most importantly, integrity. She is the epitome of professionalism, and we should be so proud as an organization that she has been counted among our ranks for all of this time. So I will truly miss my friend and my colleague, but I wish her nothing but the very best on this next chapter. And so with that, I'll invite Diana to come and accept her certificate and share maybe a few comments with you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Diana MANSOURI, Risk Management. Work comp, insurance, and safety, oh my. I've loved every minute of it, and I'm going to miss it very much. It's been a great honor working for this organization the past 30 years, and I do thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you.
Commissioner Unruh.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, Diana, I just want to make a comment that clearly you've made an impression not only on our governmental organization, but also upon your colleagues that you've worked with. It's clear that you are highly respected and loved by the folks that you've worked with these last 30 years. And that's not something that comes accidentally. That's something that's earned. And so we really appreciate your service to the organization and also to the citizens of Sedgwick County. You've made us better, and we just hope that as you go towards retirement, whatever you decide to do, that it will be profitable and rewarding to you. But thankful that you gave us 30 years. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Commissioner.
Thank you. And on behalf of the entire County Commission, I want to thank you very much for 30 years of service. Lindsay's been in my office already twice trying to figure out how to replace you, and she hasn't done it yet. So you are definitely going to be missed, and we thank you very much again for serving all of the folks here in Sedgwick County.
Thank you so very much. I'll miss you too.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to ask for an off-agenda item to discuss the recent assessments that were sent out by our assessor's office. And so I'd like a motion, Commissioner Howell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to have us insert an item regarding the appraiser's office so you can better understand our home evaluations and the issues going on around the county. So with that, I'd like to have an item inserted into the agenda that would do that.
Thank you. And I would like to second that. Any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Commissioner O'Donnell?
Aye.
Commissioner Ranzau?
Aye.
Commissioner Howell?
Aye.
Commissioner Unruh?
Aye.
Chairman Dennis?
Aye. And welcome, Mr. Borchard. I know that you talked with us yesterday about this at some great length. We ask you to come back today so that we can make sure that the information gets out to the public a little better, because we are televised today. With that in mind, I will let you go ahead and provide your briefing.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Do we have one more copy of this?
Somebody was holding out.
Commissioner Howell had all 5 copies. We're ready now.
Okay. Just to quickly cover the role of the appraiser. The appraiser is responsible for managing the property assessment system. It's the appraiser's sworn duty to see that appraised values in the jurisdiction meet the requirements of the law and administrative rules. The primary duties are to re-inspect each property within the county once every 6 years, discover, list, and value all property that had significant changes, and update appraisals each year to assure that all properties are valued at fair market value. The process is called mass appraisal. The definition is the process of valuing a group of properties as of a given date using standard methods, employing common data, and allowing for statistical testing. Values are to be at fair market value. So why do values change? Most values change are the result of market forces, new construction, property characteristic changes, and market equalization. In 2016 and 2017, market forces caused many of the 2018 values to increase. A lower than normal supply of homes for sale and a strong demand caused sale prices to rise. This is just an illustration of median sale price over time. You can see it continues to rise. An analysis of properties that sold twice indicated right around a 4% increase per year. The Wichita State Center for Real Estate publishes an annual forecast, and their analysis showed similar results. Strong home price appreciation over the last few years. The volume of sales remained steady the last few years. Statistical compliance. Kansas law requires the Department of Revenue's Property Evaluation Division to perform an annual ratio study to test the county's appraised values. A ratio study compares appraised values to the sale price of properties after the valuation date. The study tests the level and uniformity of our appraised values. The standard for level of appraised values is a median ratio between 90 and 110%. This chart shows the history of the state's ratio study for residential property in Sedgwick County. In 2016 and again in 2017, residential ratios are trending near the low limit of compliance. To correct the ratios, a revaluation was necessary. Comparing median ratios before revaluation, a beginning ratio around 89% of sale price. After revaluation, the ratios were right around 95% of sale price. And since revaluation, ratios appear to be decreasing, indicating continued home price appreciation occurring in 2018. So the results of the reappraisal, 59% of residential properties saw an increase in value. Typical change rate was 5%. Commercial 28% increased at 4%, and agricultural 65% increased at a rate of around 5%. The Property Valuation Division sets the ag land values for each county in the state. There's some maps and information available on our website that the property owner can refer to see how and why. As you know, it's an 8-year average of landlord's share of net income for both grassland and cultivated land. It's divided by a capitalization rate to come up with an appraised value. The actual range of the 8 years being used for 2018 valuation is 2009 to 2016. The mass appraisal process is a very good process, but it's not perfect. We do want our appraisals to be right. There is an appeals process. If property owners do not think their values reflect fair market value or would like an explanation of how the value was determined, they can fill out the back of their value notice and return it to the Sedgwick County Appraiser's Office within 30 days of the date indicated on the front of the notice. We'll begin those appeal meetings around March 20th. When preparing for an appeal, property owners should return the property record card, or at least review the property record card and check for discrepancies, review any recent sales in their neighborhood, and bring photos, especially interior where damage exists, or a recent appraisal. Information on our website. This snapshot is available. It just shows information available on the website. You can get your value notice or your property record card from this location. We have folks at the call center and our front desk ready to assist property owners in preparing for an appeal. The website, like I said, is a very good source, or the phone number here. Give us a call, and we'll be happy to help folks prepare for an appeal.
Thank you, Mr. Borcher, for that brief summary. I did go to the website after our staff meeting yesterday and was able to navigate through that very easily. I am one of the ones, the 59% of homeowners that did receive a love note from you that told me that we were going to have a higher possible tax. I noticed that the homeowners' average was 4 or 5%. Mine was 8%.
North of that, yeah.
Contributing to Sedgwick County. Anyway, a couple questions for you. One of the questions, and I know all the commissioners have been getting questions, did you receive any direction at all from the Board of County Commissioners to raise property values so that we could receive more tax income?
No, sir, I did not.
Okay.
Not at all.
That's not the way it works. You're completely independent of all
we're
of the
independent
county commissioners.
of the political system. We are tracking market all the time, and our appraisals are based on what's happening in the market.
The fact that our commission decided to have a flat mill levy rate for this coming year and the future years, did that have any bearing at all on any of the appraisals whatsoever?
No, our target is fair market value, and you can see our ratios were getting close to out of compliance, so we had to do a revaluation.
Good. The main thing is that the appeal process is not that difficult, and that's one of the things that we want to make sure that we get the word out to everyone, is that you just have to fill out the back of that letter that you received from our appraiser's office and submit it to them, and they will be happy to talk about your property and what went into the appraisal and why it was rated at what they said it was rated at. Well, one more question, I think it's probably more for our CFO. Does this automatically mean that we're going to see a tax increase to those of us that did receive an increase in what the appraisal value was?
Good morning, Commissioners. Lindsay Purvis, your CFO again. Not necessarily. If your property value increases and the mill levy stays flat, then yes, your property taxes would go up from one year to the next year based on that value. But the levy itself is set through the budget process for each taxing entity in the county, and so when it comes time for budget adoption, that's when tax increases and such will be planned for within a budget. But then the final mill levy rate actually won't be set until November, and that's what folks will really be taxed on.
Okay, so just the fact that they received an increase in their valuation, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be an increase in what they have to pay for taxes for next year.
No, sir.
Very good. Commissioner Ranzau.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yesterday we talked about the tax lid that was passed a few years ago. I just want to kind of talk about that and put that out there for the public. Depending on how much it goes up exactly, under that law, we can only increase our revenues a certain amount, so we may reach a point that we would either have to reduce the mill levy or put a vote, go to the vote of the people to maintain that mill levy. And so we've asked staff to look into that and show us the calculations and how we're applying that law and take a look at that. So we'll have further discussions with that. Another thing I've been thinking about and I've been wanting to bring up anyway is I know we have scheduled a property or a mill levy reduction, I think in the 2023 fiscal year. In general, I've been wondering if we should look at phasing that in over time, but I think with this year, with this increase in appraisals, maybe we need to look at begin that for the 2019, or at least begin phasing that in 2019 to help soften that blow, particularly since if what I'm understanding from the appraiser that we're already back down, so we may see another year of increased appraisals following this year. Is that correct? So we may want to take a look at that the next couple of years of implementing that over time and help soften that blow. Just some things to think about as we move forward. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yep, excuse me. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to ask a couple quick questions. The consumer price index factor of the tax lid formula, is that How broad is that area that we look at for the inflation factor of the tax lid calculation?
For the county side of the budget, the state budget law says that it's a 5-year average of CPI. So, for example, when we adopt the 2019 budget in August, we'll use essentially 2013 through 2017 as the 5-year average, whatever that CPI rate was in those 5 years.
Have we looked at that number yet to find out?
We actually, as far as I know, don't have yet the 2017 final CPI figure. The State Department of Administration Municipal Services posts kind of the state's official figure for us out on their website when it's available, and so we've been checking that. In fact, I just checked yesterday, and it's not posted just yet.
But again, is that a statewide number, or is that like a more regional number?
Oh, the CPI that they use is actually the national CPI metric. It's not targeted to Midwest or Mountain Plains or anything like that.
Is it? I'm not sure which one of you would be better to answer the question, but is it safe to say that property values are probably a little bit more dynamic than the 5-year rolling average CPI? I mean, it seems like the CPI is probably going to move much slower than perhaps some of the changes we've seen in property values.
At least locally, that for sure. The limited supply of homes is causing prices to increase quickly.
Okay, and I would like to agree with Commissioner Ranzau. You know, we did support the tax lid legislation. I think we may be the only municipality in the entire state of Kansas that did, but what that does is basically put a little bit of a restriction on our ability to capture all of the increases that may be allowed under the, I should say, used to be the valuations would go up, maybe, you know, let's say 5%, but we would have had the authority to capture the 5% increase in our budget. So this actually puts a little bit of a cap on us that doesn't allow us to change that rapidly. But again, should that be seen in the CPI eventually, then we would be able to capture it down the road. But at least initially, I think that slows us down from increasing our budgets. And I would like to say, you know, Mr. Borchard, you've sent out valuation notices. You didn't send out. Some people say you're increasing my taxes, but there's a separation between valuation notices and tax levels. Those are two totally separate issues. Could you comment on that?
Well, the appraisal process is the first step in the process. Budgets are set, levies are set after that.
Okay, good. And just to clarify, I think Chairman may have said this already, but just want to make it very clear. You don't actually work for us, and we do pay your salary and that type of thing, but you're not. You actually, I think, report directly to the state's Property Valuation Division, which is a division under the Kansas Department of Revenue, if I understand correctly. Is that correct? Okay.
The Property Valuation Division is our oversight.
Very good. How often do you do the ratio the property ratio analysis study? How often is that done?
The state does that annually.
Okay.
We do it all the time. The state publishes an official ratio study annually.
Well, I have never appealed my taxes, but I think that at least with my own property, you guys have actually given me a value which I think is within that 90 to 110% range, and so I don't have a real reason to appeal my taxes probably personally. But if someone wanted to do that, can you please talk about is it like an informally go into a small room, there's just another person there, there's not like a judge or something? I mean, you walk in, it's a very informal process, they have a conversation, I assume. They can see how their taxes were derived, and they can have a conversation.
So once we receive the property owner's value notice in the mail to our office, we'll schedule a meeting. We'll send them a mailing that lets them know the time and date. Once they show up at our office, we'll have an appraiser greet them, take them back to a small room. We'll have lots of access to our technology and information, and we'll review all that with the property owner. It's a very informal meeting.
Very good. And then generally speaking, I know these notices all kind of went out about the same time towards the first part of this month, and so generally speaking, is there an approximate date that we would say is a deadline for someone to initiate an appeals process? Is it the end of March, I assume? Or?
Yeah, March 31st.
Okay, March 31st. If they don't act by then I guess then they've kind of missed their chance this year.
They missed their first chance.
Okay.
The other option is when they pay their taxes in November, they can pay them under protest, and that will also schedule a meeting with our office.
Very good. Well, I appreciate your second presentation on this, and looking at the mass appraisal system just a little bit more closely. I think your presentation yesterday was good, and I like the statistical analysis of what you're doing. I think it gives me I guess a higher level of confidence that what you're doing actually is is tied more closely to fair market values. I think that the public may not understand the process. I don't think I understand the process very well, but I see that you have a number of ways of checking the overall process, and so statistically your numbers are where they should be, it looks like to me, and so I appreciate that. I would just say, generally speaking, since property taxes are somewhat of a subjective process, that is, I think, where a lot of the frustration lies. A lot of people assume that by just increasing the value, we're increasing taxes, and it's a subjective process, and therefore it's a little bit frustrating. But I do think that having those formulas in place and having those cross-checks in place actually helps us do this as objectively as possible overall. Of course, there's going to be some outliers, which is why the appeals process is in place. And so I do appreciate your explanation, and thank you for helping us today with this.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Commissioner O'Donnell.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Borchard. Two questions for you. The first would be in regards to the valuations for agriculture. You don't handle those in your office, right? That comes from the state. We went over this yesterday in the meeting. Okay. The second thing I wanted to ask you was, how do our increases, since it is such a large number, almost 60%, how does that line up with other major urban counties in the state of Kansas?
Well, I haven't checked that, but I've talked to the Johnson County appraiser, and I think they raised more property values this year than they ever have as well, and the amount of their increases was higher than 5%. So,
it was?
Yes.
Yeah. I think that would be valuable for us as well, knowing what are other counties looking at when it comes to increases. Is it such a dramatic increase when you have a very large majority of homeowners seeing that and just 6% seeing a decrease? Because I think that's what's hard for us to justify it to our constituents when they're asking is that, we've pounded now 59% of you, and then I think quite a few people I was talking to back 2 years ago, they had a big increase, and maybe 2 years before that. So it seems like every other year they're getting hit, and as you know, property taxes are very, very unpopular.
Yes.
So anyway, well, thank you very much, Mr. Borchard, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Well, Mr. Borchard, a couple of final things. You said that they could come to your office. Your office has moved, so we want to make sure everybody knows that you're now in the Reagan building, correct?
That's correct. We're at 271 West 3rd. The information assistance area is on the 5th floor.
Okay. So I want to make sure everybody knows where to go if they do decide to appeal it in person. But they can also say that they want to do an appeal by phone too, can't they?
That's correct. On the back of the value notice, that one option is to have a telephone hearing. Yes.
Super. So that gets the word out of how that they can appeal, where they can go, and whether they have to come in person or not. Well, we appreciate your time today, Mr. Borchard. And with that, I'd like a motion to receive and file.
So moved.
We have a motion.
Second.
And we have a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Commissioner O'Donnell?
Aye.
Commissioner Ranzau?
Aye.
Commissioner Howell?
Aye.
Commissioner Unruh?
Aye.
Chairman Dennis?
Aye. Next item, please.
Item K, consideration of a grant in the amount of $1,834,744 from the Kansas Department of Health and Environment for services provided at the Sedgwick County Division of Health.
Good morning, Adrian.
Good morning, Commissioners and Board of Health. Adrian Byrne, Division of Health Director. This morning I am seeking approval for the annual aid to local grant funding from the Kansas Department of Health and Environment. We have received this funding for well over 35 years, and it is the main way that state health departments funnel federal and state money to local health departments to help support the work that we do. This year we are requesting $1,834,774. This application funds portions of several programs along with portions of 31 of our staff positions. This funding helps support public health infrastructure, our maternal and child health programs, family planning, our immunization mobile nurse, and public health emergency preparedness, as well as our STI control program. Without this funding, many of our programs would be drastically cut, or we wouldn't be able to provide the services at all. We are requesting an overall decrease of around $2,800 below our previous award received in 2017. This contribution from the Kansas Department of Health and Environment is a foundational piece for many of our public health programs. It allows us to continue the work towards improving the health status of our residents by assuring that our children are immunized and some of our most vulnerable women receive annual checkups and support and education on staying healthy during and between pregnancies. These programs help to strengthen the health of our community, and I recommend that you authorize the chair to approve this application and sign all related documents, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you very much. Do we have any questions from anyone? Commissioner Howell.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't actually have any questions, but I just think for the listeners, they might like to know, again, I don't know how you break this down, Adrian, but I understand on our website we show we have 77 active grants. Is this one grant, or is this like 7 grants?
No, this is one of the grants that we receive called Aid to Local.
So, okay, so out of the 77 grants, this is just one of those, and this has been reoccurring for a long time, I assume.
Over 35 years.
Okay. Well, I wanted the folks to know we have 77 active grants right now on our website, totaling $37.7 million. I think this is a very important, one of the very, very important grants that we consider each year, and I appreciate the presentation and the assistance from the state and the federal government on these types of things. And so with that, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we would approve the application of the grant and authorize the chairman to sign all necessary documents.
Thank you. We have a motion and we have a second by Commissioner O'Donnell. Any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Commissioner O'Donnell?
Aye.
Commissioner Ranzau?
Aye.
Commissioner Howell?
Aye.
Commissioner Unruh?
Aye.
Chairman Dennis?
Aye.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Item L, reorganization of the programs within the Finance Division.
Hello
Morning
again, Commissioners. I feel like I'm coming up here about every other minute. Lindsay Poe-Rousseau, your CFO. The item before you this morning, you have been briefed on quite a bit, but we wanted to take this opportunity to formally have this discussion and try and make sure that the organization is aware of where we're planning to move with our risk management function. So as you saw, Diana MANSOURI retired, and our prior risk manager, Mick McBride, also retired earlier this year. And so with that, a significant amount of experience in our risk management department walked out of the door in a very short time period. And so we felt like if we were going to hire someone to come in and take over that position, they would need to have a tremendous amount of experience to be able to help us go forward. Unfortunately, we've posted the position. There have been some candidates, but unfortunately no one with that right mix of experience. And so we have kind of gone to the drawing board to figure out an alternative way to continue to provide quality service and protect the organization through the reorganization that we're proposing to you today. And so what the restructure essentially would look like would be to abolish, eliminate the risk manager position and the safety training coordinator position as they exist on the finance staffing table today. That would leave 2 remaining positions that technically have been part of the risk management section. We would essentially get rid of what is now called the risk management section and have other parts of finance pick up that area. Still provide the same level of work, but do it in a little different way. We also are leaning heavily on legal to assist us. And so we'll talk through all of that, and you'll have a policy revision actually later today as well. So in addition to eliminating those 2 positions, we would take the 2 existing positions that are the 2 remaining position, a workers' compensation adjuster, and move that into payroll, which we think is a good fit given the type of work that that section does. We would take the administrative assistant position that currently belongs to risk and reassign that to a new section under the CFO called administration. And that position, in addition to being a liaison to legal to manage our general liability and vehicle claims, would also provide some administrative support to the Division of Finance, which we lost through budget reductions back in 2012. So we would eliminate those 2 positions. We would propose to add a new position, a finance administrative manager, that administrative assistant position would report to. That position would be responsible for standing up a contract compliance, a centralized contract compliance entity within the organization. Right now, lots of different departments and divisions touch contracts. This would be one central way to make sure we have a repository, that everyone's contracts are monitored and departments are engaged when it's time to go out and make sure that those things are getting renewed. It also would provide some additional administrative support to the Division of Finance. We do, of course, need some safety functions to continue, and in fact, we hope to make them even more robust than what we've had. And so for that, we've worked with the county manager's office actually to split what is currently the internal performance auditor. The person in that position actually has some really great experience with safety, and so we're asking to reassign a fair portion of that position actually to finance to get a safety program up and running, and to be a liaison with a third party that actually will be on your bid board for discussion today to help us kind of fill in those gaps maybe where we need to and get the training component done. So that would be essentially what we propose as the restructure. There would be overall a net reduction of 1 FTE to the organization. Just based on personnel alone, as your agenda item tells you, we're anticipating about $135,000 of savings. Even based on the costs that we've already incurred this year. We would want to use some of those savings to support the proposal that's coming before you at bid board, but we still believe that there would be at least ongoing savings of approximately $80,000 per year. And so certainly it is a different way of doing business. We'll make sure to monitor it and come back to you if anything's not working to make sure that we're still able to provide the same level of service to staff and to our customers that we need to. And so with that, Commissioners, I urge you to approve the staffing table recommendations.
Thank you. Commissioner Unruh?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, Lindsay, as you indicated, you've had several briefings with commissioners to make sure we understand the changes and the why thereof. And I appreciate the efforts of you and the folks who worked hard on trying to come up with a solution that would provide quality public services to our citizens and keep us organized in a way that we feel comfortable as far as risk management and safety and those things. So very pleased with your effort, and I think that this is a workable solution, so I'm willing to go ahead and make a motion that we authorize the changes to the staffing table as corrected.
Thank you. We have a motion.
Second.
And we have a second. I'd like to reiterate what Commissioner Unruh said. You have been in our office 2 times that I know for sure to discuss this. I know you're very concerned about the loss of a couple of your folks that were key to making this work over a number of years, and they're going to be very difficult to replace, but I think you've got a great plan. If there needs to be any tweaks to it as it goes forward, we're completely capable of listening to you and following your lead to make sure that we make the tweaks that are required. Safety of our staff and all of our employees is very important to us. And I think what we've got is a plan and a proposal that is very workable. So I'd be happy to vote in favor of that. I don't see any other folks that want to speak today, so Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner O'Donnell?
Aye.
Commissioner Ranzau?
Aye.
Commissioner Howell?
Aye.
Commissioner Unruh?
Aye.
Chairman Dennis?
Aye.
Thank you.
Next item, please.
Item M, report of the Board of Bids and Contracts regular meeting of March 8th,
Morning, Joe.
2018.
Good morning, sir. Commissioners. Joe Thomas, Purchasing Director. The meeting of the Board of Bids and Contracts on March 8th, we have 6 recommendations for your approval this morning. Our first recommendation for the mid-size tracked excavator with the wood shredder option, we're asking to defer this item. Some new information has come to our attention that would require that we take this item back to bid board, and so we'll bring this item back to you at a future date. So we're deferring this item with your approval. Item number 2 is the Forensic Science Center mechanical retrofit for project services. And this recommendation is to accept the low bid, including option 2 from Central Consolidated Incorporated in the amount of $321,850. Item number 3 is the on-base maintenance and support for information technology and support services. This recommendation is to accept the quote from Konica Minolta Business Solutions USA Incorporated, and this is in the amount of $147,833. Item number 4 is the 2018 Crack Seal Program for Public Works. This recommendation is to accept the low bid from Pavement Pros LLC in the amount of $354,425. Item number 5 is a bridge replacement, and this bridge is located at 295th Street West between 45th and 53rd Streets North. This recommendation is to accept the low bid from Claver Construction Company, and this is in the amount of $431,828.37. And our final item, which was referred to by Ms. Paul Rousseau in regards to risk management, is the consulting services. And this recommendation is to accept the low proposal from IMA Incorporated for the contracted rates as shown for 3 years with 2 one-year options to renew. I'll be happy to try to answer any questions you may have regards to any of these items, and I recommend approval of all 6.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. I know each one of the commissioners had a chance to review the bid board minutes that were provided, and it does not appear that we have any questions on it. So with that, I am open for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the recommendations of the Board of Bids and Contracts.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Commissioner O'Donnell?
Aye.
Commissioner Ranzau?
Aye.
Commissioner Howell?
Aye.
Commissioner Unruh?
Aye.
Chairman Dennis?
Aye.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Consent agenda.
Commissioners, Mike Scholes, County Manager, recommend you approve consent agenda items November through Alpha Hotel.
Do I have a motion for November through Alpha Hotel?
I move that we approve the consent agenda, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, including November to Alpha, Charles. Or Alpha Hotel. Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Commissioner O'Donnell?
Aye.
Commissioner Ranzau?
Aye.
Commissioner Howell?
Aye.
Commissioner Unruh?
Aye.
Chairman Dennis?
Aye. This time I'd like to recess the regular meeting of the County Commission and call to order the March 14th, 2018 of governing body of Fire District Number 1. Roll call, please.
Commissioner O'Donnell?
Present.
Commissioner Ranzau?
Present.
Commissioner Howell?
Present.
Commissioner Unruh?
Present.
Chairman Dennis?
Present. Public agenda. I'm sorry. Madam Clerk, next item.
Public agenda.
I don't have anything for public agenda, so next item, please.
Consideration of minutes. Item A, fire meeting minutes of February 21st, 2018.
Do I have a motion?
Move that we approve, Mr. Chair.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Commissioner O'Donnell?
Aye.
Commissioner Ranzau?
Aye.
Commissioner Howell?
Aye.
Commissioner Unruh?
Aye.
Chairman Dennis?
Aye. Next item, please.
Consent agenda.
Commissioners, Mike Scholes again, County Manager, recommend you approve consent agenda item Bravo.
We have, do we have a motion for consent item Bravo?
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve consent item Bravo.
Oh, thank you. Second. We have a motion and a second. Discussion. Seeing none, Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Commissioner O'Donnell?
Aye.
Commissioner Ranzau?
Aye.
Commissioner Howell?
Aye.
Commissioner Unruh?
Aye.
Chairman Dennis?
Aye. I'd like to adjourn the Fire District Number 1 board and recall to order the Sedgwick County Board of County Commission meeting. Next item, please.
Legislative issues.
Mr. Deere.
Commissioners, Will Deere, Assistant County Counselor. Just a couple quick updates. House Bill 2597, which is the bill that would designate Sedgwick County as an urban area. The hearing is actually tomorrow in the Senate at 9:30, local government. That bill is already passed out of the House, 122 to 1. So we're fairly confident that's going to become law this year. The other pending matter is House Bill 2509, which is the budget bill relating to the election commissioner. That did pass out of the House back on February 22nd. There has not been a hearing set in the Senate thus far, but we're confident that we're going to be able to move that bill this session as well.
Good. Anything else we need to worry about right now?
I don't have anything else to discuss. If anybody has any questions, be happy to run the information.
One question is about Fire Marshal with the elevators.
The elevator bill that was introduced, there's a elevator, I don't recall the exact name of the bill, but the bill would give some additional powers to the state fire marshal. That has not been set for a hearing yet. Getting fairly late in the session for them to move a bill. So, at this point in time, we don't have any opportunity really to oppose that bill other than just speaking to some folks up in Topeka. So this bill would create a statewide elevator inspection mechanism and then potentially take some local control away from our MABCD.
Okay. And I know our MABCD is concerned about that.
They are, and we're keeping on top of it every day. Our lobbyists in Topeka are aware of it, and just at this point, we're just monitoring it.
Okay, if you can keep us informed on what's going on that, and we'd appreciate it.
We will.
Any questions from any of the commissioners? Mr. Yost.
Mr. Chairman, I got an email last night late, and I didn't even have a chance to visit with Mr. Deere about it pertaining to our urban designation bill. It came from a lady who I think works in the Secretary of State's office. In the 60s, when there was only one county that had been designated as an urban county, they got kind of lazy up there, and they talked about any county that had been designated as an urban area without referring to a particular county. And a couple of things that they passed gives her some concern about if we were to then become an urban area, because she deals with cemetery issues, and we've got a couple of cemeteries in Sedgwick County that she has regulatory authority over. So she may ask the committee to maybe exempt that cemetery or something. I'm not exactly certain what she's going to do. I don't know yet what our view of that would be. I would want to visit with the commissioners about that. But I just want to give you a heads up that there may be something that happens in committee on that, and I'll get back with you about that.
Okay. Do the counties that already have urban area designations?
Pardon me?
Do the counties that already have been designated urban areas, do they have cemeteries?
Yes, they have. What happened was, I think Johnson County came in and wanted to exempt something from regulatory involvement by the state, which I suppose was okay. But what would happen is that would also happen for the cemeteries in this county, and that's not really what we're asking for. And so we'll see what she's proposing as far as language. So we may want to go ahead and amend that bill. I'll see what she wants to do. But I haven't had a chance to visit with her about it today. So we'll see what she proposes and go from there.
Very good. Well, keep us informed, please. Commissioner Ranzau?
So, Mr. Counselor, it seems to me that if they wanted to add something to the bill, they could just amend the original legislation that was passed to make it only apply to Johnson County.
They could do that, and I don't know what her approach is going to be.
Okay.
Any other questions for legislative? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, next item.
Other.
Does anyone have anything? Commissioner Unruh.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair. I've been taught some time back that if you make a public offense, then you should make a public apology. And clearly my remarks yesterday offended some folks, some of my constituents, and some citizens in Wichita. So I just wanted to say that was not my intent at all yesterday when I made the comment regarding atheist presentations to this body. We encourage a wide range of spiritual groups to come before us, as does the city and state legislature and other government entities, and it's a long-standing tradition. And yesterday, in my misunderstanding of why a group that doesn't have a spiritual base would want to come during an invocation time, I made a comment that was intended to be somewhat humorous or sarcastic, and it evidently failed. So just want to say that in terms of issues of faith, I really don't shy away from debate or conversation or argument at all, but it's not my intent. My intent is to win the argument, but my intent is not to offend. So just wanted to make that apology. And I know that we have an opportunity for all people to make comments as they want during our public policy portion of our meeting. So anyway, I hope that doesn't muddy the water. I hope that clears it up and puts us to rest. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Unruh. Anything else? Once again, I want to make sure that we let everyone that comes to this area during the NCAA tournament know that they're very welcome here in this area. We want them to feel at home. We want them to understand that we have great folks that live, work, play, and pray here in Wichita and Sedgwick County, and we want them to get to know us better, and so that they can see what a great place that this really is. Oh, I don't see anyone else want anything else, so next item, please.
Executive session.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the Board of County Commissioners recess into executive session for 20 minutes until 10:40 to consult with an attorney for this commission, which would be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship. The executive session is required to protect attorney-client privilege and the public interest.
No sooner than 10:40, right?
Right.
Okay. We have a motion to return no sooner than 10:40 from executive session.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Commissioner O'Donnell?
Aye.
Commissioner Ranzau?
Aye.
Commissioner Howell?
Aye.
Commissioner Unruh?
Aye.
Chairman Dennis?
Aye. We are in recess.
We're going to the boardroom.
We'll go back.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
pursuant to Kansas law. No binding action was taken while we were in executive session. Is there anything else that needs to come before the county commissioner today? Seeing nothing, we're adjourned. Thank you.